Hey everyone, TTL here. So in today's video, we're putting two tablets head to head. That's the Redmi Pad Pro and the Lenovo Tab Plus. We'll be diving into their displays, speakers, performance, gaming, and more. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it. Pricing, the Redmi Pad Pro, at least here in the UK, comes in at £269 for the base 6GB plus 128GB variant, and then £299 for the 8GB plus 256GB version. Pricing wise, this comes in at £289.99 for the base 8GB and 128GB storage version, or £349.99 for the 8GB and 256GB storage version. We'll check out what we get with the box. So pop off the lid here. As usual, the tablet sitting on top with a bit more information on the specs. So we have the USB-C charging cable, quick start guide and warranty notice, and a SD card tray ejecting pin, and then the tablet itself, and no charging brick to be seen here, guys. So let's boot it up and get cracking with the review. Let's start off to see what we get in the box. So pop the lid off here. We've got the tablet sitting on top. We'll check that out in a second. We have the quick start guide and safety and warranty booklets, an ejecting pin for the SD card tray, and a USB-C to USB-C charging cable. Unfortunately, no charging brick included. And then we get the Lenovo Tab Plus itself. So let's boot this up and we'll get into the design and build. So when it comes to what's included in the box, it's a tie for me. Neither tablet comes with a charger, so I'm going to have to give a point to both of them for this category. So up front of the Redmi Pad Pro, we have a large 12.1-inch display with symmetrical bezels all around. Looking at it in landscape, to the right, we have two speaker grills, a headphone jack and the USB-C port. Around the bottom, there is nothing. To the left side, we have two more speaker grills, Dolby Vision Atmos branding, and then the power/lock button. And up top, we have the two volume buttons, two microphones, and SD card tray, which allows expandable storage of up to 1.5 TB. Around the front, we have the 8-megapixel front camera, and then turning to the back, we can see this unibody aluminium casing with the Redmi branding here in the corner, and then the normal UK blurb at the bottom here, and then the 8-megapixel rear camera along with LED flash. Rocking wise, it isn't too bad when lying flat. I have seen a lot worse, but the camera module on here doesn't protrude out too much, so that's good to see. Up front, we have the 11.5-inch display with symmetrical bezels all around, apart from that little additional bit at the bottom. To the right hand side, we have two speaker grills here with Dolby Atmos branding. And then we have a large speaker here at the bottom, along with USB-C port. We have nothing at the bottom here. To the left, we have the power/lock button with two more speaker slots and another large speaker grill, along with a headphone/mic port, which supports lossless streaming with compatible headphones. To the top, we have the volume buttons, along with two microphones and the SD card tray, and that supports up to 1 TB expandable storage, so plenty of storage if you want to add some on. We have the 8-megapixel front camera. Around the back, the tablet has an all-metal build, the Lenovo branding here in the middle, and then we have this kind of protruding area bulking out at the bottom here, which houses the kickstand in the middle, and then we have the 8-megapixel rear camera. A nice feature on the Tab Plus is that it comes with this built-in kickstand. You can hold onto it. You can see there's solid hinges built into this, which are nice and sturdy, so kind of sticks out at any angle you really want. You can go almost totally flat, absolutely solid, tap away, do whatever you want. There's no movement. Really nice feature to see this built into a tablet, and then you can kind of flip it up and get the tablet to be almost upright, but just have to be careful of it toppling over. And I really like this built-in kickstand, so it made things so much easier when you're using the tablet and you just want to pop it up in front of you. It does make the tablet weigh a little bit more than usual, but still nice. Without the kickstand, we can see there's some rocking back and forth, and then if you're holding it in portrait mode, there's going to be a bit of odd weight distribution. For design and build, it's another close one, depends on what you're looking for, but I'm going to give the edge to the Lenovo Tab Plus thanks to its built-in kickstand, which is really handy, and it does have a bit more weight than the Redmi Pad Pro, but again, that kickstand balances that out, so you can kind of prop it up wherever you like. Display wise, the Redmi Pad Pro has a 12.1 inch LCD 2.5K display, and that's running up to 120Hz. PPI comes in at 249, so reasonable, and is covered in Corning Gorilla Glass 3. We have 500 nits typical brightness and then 600 nits for high brightness mode on this tablet. Viewing angles generally okay, slight dip in brightness levels and slight temperature shift at more extreme angles, but what we expect from an LCD panel. 4K 60fps playback is supported on YouTube, and there's no HDR capability on YouTube here as far as I can see. Now we also have a toolbox option which, if enabled, allows you to adjust picture style, and then there's a toggle for Dolby Atmos. Wide 1 level 1 supported on Netflix with full HD playback and Dolby Atmos for HDR capabilities. So playback on Netflix, really nice, pictures look vivid, nice colors on there, and I've got Rick and Morty as my usual reference content. But for me, generally, screen nice and sharp. Colors on here are really good. Obviously depends on which color setting you have set up. And then outside you can see the usual behavior for a glass panel. You're going to get reflectivity issues, but the screen is still legible in brighter light. The Redmi Pad Pro does support a dedicated stylus, the Redmi Spark Pen. I didn't include it in this review since I can't directly compare it with the Lenovo Tab Plus's stylus, but you can check that pen out in action in my dedicated review of the Redmi Pad Pro. When it comes to display, the Lenovo Tab Plus has an 11.5 inch IPS LCD display that's running at 90Hz refresh rate, and the PPI for this display comes in at 203. Peak brightness is at 400 nits, so it's not very bright to be honest. Viewing angles, they are what we would expect from an IPS LCD panel, with slight color shifting, and the brightness does drop quite a bit on more extreme angles. 4K playback is supported on YouTube. And so is 4K 60fps with no problem playing that kind of footage. We have wide 1 level 1 support on Netflix and full HD playback, but obviously no HDR capabilities. So footage on Netflix is going to be looking nice. I have to say it's not the sharpest display at 203 ppi, but still what we would expect from this kind of range of tablets in this price range, But colors on here were decent, were nice, good enough for media consumption. And for me, it was a joy to be watching my usual content. And again, the Lenovo Tab Plus also supports dedicated stylus, which would be the Lenovo Tab Pen Plus or the Lenovo Tab Pen, which is a solid option. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get my hands on it in time for my initial review, so I couldn't test it. However, you can check out that pen in action in the review of my Lenovo Tab P12. So when it comes to display, the Redmi Pad Pro definitely takes the win. It offers a larger screen, higher refresh rate, better peak brightness, and a higher PPI count. That said, both tablets have good displays, and the dedicated stylus support makes them even better. Redmi Pad Pro has 4 speakers, and we'll have a quick look in sound effects, so we can choose Dolby Atmos or Xiaomi sound. And then your graphic equalizer, standard stuff here, rock, jazz, classical, gonna leave it on custom, so we'll have a listen to see what the speakers are like. Camera module is raised, so we're going to get some rocking when laying flat. Build wise, I can hear some creaking. Overall seems sturdy as much as you can expect from a plastic build on a budget IPS LCD panel, with quite a bit of dimming of the screen as the angles get more extreme, and there's a shift in the color temperature too. The Lenovo Tab Plus has 8 JBL speakers which are tuned with Dolby Atmos. We have a quick look in the settings. So you can pick from dynamic, movie or music. And if you select movie, you can adjust the dialogue enhancer. The speakers are probably the best I've heard on a tablet in this price range, to be honest. They're very loud, they have quite good depth to them, and that's obviously because of those additional 2 large speakers at the bottom, I believe. You're not going to expect thumping bass or anything, but definitely the most bass, if you want to call it that I've heard from a tablet in this price range. But regardless, they did sound very good, and we'll check them out now.
Dimension. I need an extra pair of hands. Oh, jeez, Rick. What'd you do to Frank? Pretty obvious, Morty. I froze him. Now listen, Rick. I can't leave school again. Do you have any concept of how much higher the stakes get out there, Morty? What do you think? I can just do it all by myself?
Back up, Sammy, and get your wings in.
To the perimeter and get in behind us. There's nothing between them and vision.
We open the barrier.
I said open the barrier?
On my signal. This will be the end of Wakanda.
It's time for the quiz. Yeah, you know what? Oh, too bad. Tough. First row, take one, pass it back for me. The stakes are high in this room.
For speakers, the winner is clear, Lenovo Tab Plus. These are some of the best speakers I've heard on a tablet in this price range, and honestly, they even rival those on more expensive tablets. They get very loud, offer much better depth and overall sound quality, so definitely a win there. Performance, the Redmi Pad Pro is running on the Snapdragon 7S Gen 2 CPU. Xiaomi do state you will get 2 OS updates and 3 years of security patches, but they are notorious for the OS updates being delayed significantly, so take that as you will. And I stated earlier, I have the 8GB RAM version, which is LPDDR4X, and then there's 256GB, which is UFS 2.2. You can also bump the RAM up by an additional 8GB via memory extension. I'm just going to turn that on. Benchmark scores on Geekbench 6, we got 984 for single and 2648 on the multi-score, reasonable. And then for 3D Mark, I couldn't run benchmarks because it was saying it was unable to connect to the servers. And they said there was something about it could be where the manufacturer is blocking this. And 2.2, we got 504,744. So not the highest score, obviously, but again, reasonable. And then read and write speeds, 437.65 on write, and then 688 on the read speed. So that's good. Next, we'll move on to Call of Duty Warzone. And in the settings, we have the options of mid and high for visual quality. And I'm going to set the FPS to 60 and performance optimization for frame rate. And I've got my PlayStation controller connected, which I find to be a much more enjoyable experience rather than using the on-screen controls, especially with a game like this. And 7 minutes in, and we can see the FPS is hovering around 45 to 55. Temperature is at 36.4 degrees. Next, we'll quickly check out Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Absolutely love this game. Bump the resolution up to the max. And this game ran absolutely fine. Hitting 30 FPS, which is the max on here. And the game, like I said, running nice. The Lenovo Tab Plus is powered by the very popular MediaTek Helio G99. That comes with 8GB of RAM and it's running on Android 14. And the Lenovo does promise 2 OS upgrades, so that's up to Android 16, and they promise 4 years of security patches, so reasonable, I would say. Benchmark wise, what we'd expect, 714 single score, 1749 on the multi-score for Geekbench 6. We got 405,153 on Antutu. On 3D Mark for the wildlife stress test, we can see FPS was ranging from 4 to 10. So what we'd expect from basically an entry-level tablet at this price. Read-write speeds, we can see 435 for sequential write and 564 on the sequential read. We'll jump into Call of Duty Warzone, and I'm going to pick higher graphic details, so that's high richer quality and max frame rate set to standard. On those settings the game ran absolutely fine, so it's not the highest quality graphics, but again good enough for me, enjoyable. I was using my PS5 controller to play, which is always a joy. Next we'll jump into GTA Vice City. Going to crank the resolution up to the highest. And I did notice here it wasn't running very smooth, to be honest. It felt like the FPS was down below, probably in the 10-15 range. You can see it's not very smooth at all. I mean, the graphics of it obviously look nice, so I'm gonna bring that down to halfway and a bit better, but still I felt like it wasn't as smooth as I wanted it to be. So you have to keep in mind there are limitations, and obviously game optimization is another thing to keep in mind. I'm going to crank it all the way down, and you've sacrificed a lot of graphic quality here and it runs smoother without a doubt. So you just have to be aware of certain sacrifices with frames and resolution when you're running the MediaTek Helio G99. For performance, the Redmi Pad Pro wins in that department because of the more capable Snapdragon 7S Gen 2 CPU. The Helio G99 is a capable chip, but the 7S Gen 2 just has that bit more processing power. Redmi Pad Pro has a 10,000 mAh battery, keeping all the lights on, and the tablet supports 33-watt fast charging. You'll have to have a compatible charging brick to take advantage of that, and the Xiaomi claim you can get 12.1 hours of video playback or 15.1 hours of reading. We'll jump in first of all to see what we have in settings. And it's your usual stuff here. You can choose from your current mode, so it's going to be balanced or battery saver if you wanted to extend that. We have battery protection, so you can do regular charging, optimized or limited, and that will cut the battery charge off at 80%, helping to maintain battery health. And then you have nighttime charging protection, and then additional features, things like turn off mobile data when device is locked, or clear cache when device is locked, and then your usual battery drain throughout the day through apps, and you can pick certain times throughout the day. And then my PC mark test got 8 hours and 3 minutes, which was a bit disappointing, I have to say, but regardless, battery life on here is standard, I would guess. Lenovo Tab Plus comes with the 8600 mAh battery, which supports 45-watt fast charging, so that's good to see, and in my experience it did charge quite quickly with a compatible charger. And in the settings, we have your usual bits and bobs here. You have charge optimization, so charging protection and battery maintenance mode, which will allow you to protect your battery. You have battery saver, various options here if you want to turn that on, increasing your battery life. And then you can just check out the battery drain through various graphs and apps. And we can see here, this is my score of, I got 9 hours on my PC mark battery life score, which is reasonable. I have seen better in this tablet range, but all depends on how much you're using the tablet, so battery life varies greatly. So in my testing, it was good. I mean, it got me through the day, and that was with heavy gaming and things like that, so not too bad. For battery, I'm marking it up as a tie, but a forced decision would hand it to the Lenovo Tab Plus. Each have their own pros and cons. The higher capacity on the Redmi Pad Pro works in its favor, but the Lenovo Tab Plus supports faster charging, and battery life score on the Lenovo Tab Plus was better too. Both tablets have good battery life, but looks like the G99 is a little bit more power efficient. So in the end, the winner is, it really depends on what you're looking for. Both tablets are solid in their own right. If your focus is on media consumption and audio quality, then the Lenovo Tab Plus is the clear choice. And of course, you get all of Lenovo's productivity features built in, so that's another highlight. And obviously, it has those standout speakers. However, if you're after a more well-rounded device that performs decently across the board, the Redmi Pad Pro is an excellent option. Ultimately, it's all about your priorities and how you plan to use the tablet. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. That was my comparison between those two tablets. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.